Hello listeners and welcome to Team 1's recording of this week's West Lothian Boomerang, your talking newspaper. I'm pleased to welcome our engineer for tonight, who is Diane from Team 2, and the readers are myself, Wendy, who is going to try very hard to fill Bob's shoes.
And George.
The news this week is taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier, dated the 21st of November. And the lead story this week is 30 years of National Lottery, £4 million lottery winners' cancer heartache. Big win tainted by sadness after tragic death. And the article is by a staff reporter. A West Lothian lottery winner who scooped a £4 million jackpot has told how her win was tainted with sadness after her husband died. Donna Hendry and husband David won the massive cash prize in January 2015 before he passed away after a short battle with cancer 5 years later. The couple had been together for most of their lives and married for 23 years. They gave up their jobs upon winning and bought a bigger house in the same area. Donna was one of a number of Scots who gathered with others to mark the National Lottery's 30-year anniversary. And the story continues inside. Lottery winners' heartbreak after husband's death. Couple hit the £4 million jackpot before sad cancer diagnosis. A West Lothian lottery winner who scooped a £4 million jackpot has told how her win was tainted with sadness after the death of her husband. Donna Hendry, 54, told of her heartbreak despite their good fortune in discovering they had won a £4,078,509 jackpot. Speaking as the National Lottery celebrates the 30th anniversary of the first ever lottery tickets being sold, Donna, who lives in West Lothian, said she and her husband David collected the cheque in January 2015 before he passed away after a short battle with cancer. The couple had been together for most of their lives, 30 years and married for 23. They gave up their jobs upon winning and bought a bigger house in the same area. Donna, who also travelled with Elvis Van David to Memphis before he was diagnosed in 2020, said, "He died 4 months later and our son was only 18 at the time. He's just graduated with a first and I know his father would have been so proud." Donna was one of a number of Scots who gathered with other winners from throughout the UK to mark the National Lottery's 30-year anniversary. Leslie Higgins, 63, and husband Fred, 74, won a staggering £57,975,367 in the Euro Millions jackpot in July 2018. The couple now live on a grand 850-acre estate near Perth, purchased after their momentous win, which Leslie believes not only changed their lives but saved her husband's. Leslie said, "When we won, I placed our winning ticket in an envelope and wrote, 'Money worries over.' In fact, our win saved Fred's life. It meant we could afford a custom-made kilt to attend our niece's wedding. So when Fred was measured up and then returned to collect the kilt 6 weeks later, and it fell off him as he'd lost so much weight and we hadn't noticed, we knew there was a problem. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer and had surgery, so I feel that the National Lottery saved his life in a way." Brian Sharp, 63, from Musselburgh, East Lothian, won a £2,033,705 lotto jackpot in June 2010 while working a night shift as an electrician at the Royal Bank of Scotland. He lives with wife Anne, 62. The couple bought their dream 5-bedroom home beside the river that they used to walk along as a young couple and dream of owning a house alongside. Brian said, "Our aim is to see every Formula One Grand Prix, and as we go around the world following Formula One racing, we've rubbed shoulders with Damon Hill and David Coulthard, and we've spotted Lewis Hamilton and Nico Hülkenberg." For the past 30 years, the National Lottery has supported good causes as a way to bring positive change to communities right across the United Kingdom and the Isle of Man. Since the first draw was held in 1994, the lottery funds have helped raise over £49 billion for good causes and awarded over 690,000 individual grants to projects and organisations making a real difference to local communities. 30 National Lottery millionaires came together to be photographed by renowned celebrity photographer Rankin to mark 3 decades since the very first ticket was sold. The 30 winners, who are worth more than £190 million combined, represent just a fraction of the 7,400 millionaires created since the first draw. The three Scottish winners, Leslie, Donna and Brian, are worth a combined £64 million and featured in the landmark photo shoot. Scots photographer Rankin, who has captured a host of iconic figures, including Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth II and the Rolling Stones, gathered the winners at his London studio to commemorate the first National Lottery tickets, which first went on sale on November the 14th, 1994. The results are intimate individual portraits, smaller group shots, and a historic shot of all 30 National Lottery winners together. Rankin added, "I'm extremely lucky that I get to meet and work with extraordinary people, with famous actors and models through to the NHS nurses. I remember when the National Lottery first started, and it was intriguing to meet the real winners and hear their stories and experiences. They are normal people who have had an extraordinary thing happen to them, transforming their lives. This is what we set out to capture." During the shoot, the winners shared life-changing stories, from boob jobs to fast cars and luxury holidays, but also personal tragedies. Since the first draw on November the 19th, 1994, the National Lottery has created more than 692 Scottish millionaires, and £3.8 billion has been raised to help support thousands of projects and charities, transforming communities across Scotland. National Lottery funding has built iconic landmarks like the Kelpies, V&A Dundee and Hampden, enabled community buyouts including GIA, and supporting our sporting heroes such as Sir Chris Hoy. Cathy Garrett, winner's advisor at Alwyn, operators of the National Lottery, said, "On average, 7 millionaires are created every week across our games, and these lovely winners are just a tiny fraction of the lucky players who have won incredible sums of money over the years."
Dementia dogs lead the way in supporting community. An article by Jenny Folds. When Daisy came to live with Nigel and Kitty earlier this year, they never could have imagined the incredible impact she could have on their lives. As well as being playful, loyal and the perfect canine companion, the 3-year-old assistance dog has provided practical and emotional support to the couple after Nigel was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2022. From helping with remembering to take medication to easing anxiety in stressful situations, Labrador Daisy is supporting both Nigel and full-time carer Kitty to lead full and active lives. Daisy is hugely positive on Nigel and therefore for me too, Kitty explained. Nigel is less likely to be anxious, especially when I am out. He's also generally less likely to be irritable and down. She does also encourage him to be more active and get out and about more. I hadn't appreciated until she arrived how much of a positive influence Daisy would be just through her presence in the house and lovely demeanour. Retired Heriot-Watt University lecturer Nigel, 79, added, "The first connection with Daisy was absolutely brilliant. She's almost been designed and built for us. She's very good company. I can see her keeping an eye on me, and she's very good at sensing situations." Daisy's arrival in the couple's lives has been made possible thanks to a unique partnership between Alzheimer's Scotland and dog training charity Dogs for Good. The Dementia Dog project began as a request from Alzheimer's Scotland to the Glasgow School of Art, where students were challenged to produce a design concept that would help people living with dementia. Following a lot of hard work, the students produced the concept for a dementia assistance dog. These dogs would be the first of their kind and would be specially bred and trained to provide practical daily support for people living with dementia in conjunction with bringing the joy that all dogs bring. Following research, Alzheimer's Scotland reached out to Dogs for Good for tailored dog technical advice, and the collaboration, which has now existed for a decade, was developed. The assistance dogs have full public access rights, unlike pet dogs, to provide reassurance and support in busy and unfamiliar environments. They also help with everyday tasks, such as fetching medication or reminding people to complete their daily routine. Kitty said, "We've been working on some tasks. I ask her to give things to Nigel, such as a bottle of water, and she'll do that. Recently, I've been asking her to go and get Nigel or go and see Nigel. She has a pouch which is on a stool in the living room, and the idea is an alarm will go off and Daisy brings this pouch to Nigel to remind him to take his evening medication. She makes Nigel feel less anxious when out and about. Going through somewhere like Edinburgh Waverley Station, where it is very busy, can be a source of anxiety for Nigel. But now having Daisy, he's more focused on her and less likely to find that situation a source of anxiety. I work part-time, but I am Nigel's full-time carer. If I leave Nigel with Daisy and go out for a few hours, I'm much more comfortable as I know Nigel's less likely to be stressed. Nigel would tend to phone with questions, but when Daisy's there and I'm not, although she can't answer the questions, there seems to be fewer questions that need to be answered. I find I'm now the one to phone and check in on them, and they're quite happy. The placement of Daisy is particularly meaningful for the couple who live in North Berwick, as they used to be volunteer trainers for guide dogs for the blind, and are now benefiting from an assistance dog of their own. Kitty continued, "We were guide dog puppy raisers for 10 years previously and have successfully raised 6 puppies that have gone on for further training, and 5 of them are now working." After his diagnosis, Nigel was assigned a post-diagnostic support worker who works for Alzheimer's Scotland. And when she first came here, we were looking after someone's dog for the day, and we were telling her we'd done puppy raising but had to give it up because of Nigel's diagnosis. She then mentioned the Dementia Dog project and said she would find out some more information for us. We both thought the idea was really good because we'd been thinking about whether we should get a dog of our own, but one of the challenges was that we wouldn't be able to take a dog anywhere. Because Nigel in particular was used to going in places with the pups, that could have been quite tricky. The idea of a dementia dog with public access seemed like a very good solution. We were both desperately missing having a dog in the house, but we were conscious that it might create as many problems that it solved. Kitty initially filled out an online form and then received a call from the project coordinator who explained more about the initiative. And from there, a longer application form followed to ensure the project was suitable for them and that the couple and their new assistance dog could be perfectly matched. Kitty said there was a period of time to find the right match. It was earlier this year we were contacted and told there is a dog and she might be a good match. The service is looking to match new families with assistance dogs in central Scotland and applications are open. Applicants need to be at an early stage of their dementia diagnosis and live at home with a carer. Anyone interested can visit dementiadog.org or send an email to bark@dementiadog.org. And there's some lovely photographs of Nigel and Kitty with dog Daisy. And I can see Daisy, a black lab, is wearing a green jacket which says, "I'm working, please don't distract me."
Next article is attributed to Debbie Hall. It's entitled, "Let's Rock Season at Free Christmas Party for Children." A West Lothian play centre that specialises in supporting kids with additional support needs is holding a fantastic free Christmas party. Let's Rock, the Spectrum in Armadale, is a non-judgmental play space for every child up until their age 7. This year, staff have decided to hold a free Christmas event for children on December the 2nd and promise a fantastic night of candy floss, a disco, Santa and much more. Owner Rachel O'Neill said that she's determined that so many local businesses, it was delighted that so many local businesses have got behind her to make the Christmas event extra special. She said, "We have been so lucky to have wonderful local businesses supporting us, including Optimal Events Hire, the Little Occasion Company, Zoe's Face Painting and Balloons, Fly Hanging Balloons, Funky Faces, Stuart Hogg Music and a local man who does the most amazing Santa visit. We have set up a fundraiser page to buy gifts for the kids and prizes for the free adult raffle. There is also an Amazon list to buy books for the kids that can be delivered straight to our space in Armadale. Rachel said this year her business has also been gifted free play passes each month for nominated families. She continued, "We have donated free play sessions to lots of raffles and fairs and given lots of prizes, including parties and days out. We've sponsored our little ones for their events and continue our free clothing pantry. We truly enjoy making a difference within the community. We know how special Christmas can be and want to create a little bit of magic in the community. Everyone who donates gives directly to the event. If you or anyone would like to attend the event, please get in touch. No reason has to be given and no judgment at all. It may be someone on a low income, on maternity leave, someone who has had a hard year, perhaps has multiple kids or simply can't travel further afield to larger events. We want everyone to have a little magic this year. Please email Rachel at letsrockthespectrum.com with any questions or to get tickets. Let's Rock the Spectrum was set up last year by Rachel, who had been teaching for 13 years in various roles such as a class teacher, principal teacher, and most recently, inclusion support for learning departments. She said she was shocked after returning home from working abroad for 12 years that there were no play spaces designed for ASN kids in mind. And so she launched Let's Rock the Spectrum, which offers 4 great spaces to explore as well as seating around the area. It also has a sensory room and includes a variety of resources, including self-regulation aids such as weighted blankets, a cuddle canoe, and assuage pillows. There's a role-play area with a range of kids' favourite stations, a gross motor and movement room to run, jump and climb, as well as an enclosed baby space. A range of baby, toddler and adult groups and classes are all offered. To donate, visit https://www.gofundme.com/f/presents-for-Christmas-party. And to set the scene a little, there is a picture with Santa, 2 children, and they're sitting with a huge fire in the background, and everybody is looking as if they're having a great time, and this must have been taken at last year's Christmas party.
Thousands face running up fuel debt this winter. Fears over energy costs as households struggle to pay bills, an article by Stuart Somerville. Almost a fifth of West Lothian households face the onset of winter in debt from paying the heating bills from last winter as fuel poverty grows. The shocking figures reveal thousands of households now find themselves facing debts they cannot escape and bills they cannot afford as temperatures drop, while 18% of West Lothian households are in fuel poverty and 9% of households are in extreme fuel poverty. Nahid Hanif, the council's anti-poverty service manager, said, "People find themselves locked into a cycle of debt." He continued, "In 2024, the profile of West Lothian tells us that the demographics of poverty are changing. Many households are not just struggling to afford heating, but also find themselves trapped in energy debt. As energy prices have substantially increased, many households in West Lothian have accumulated substantial arrears on their energy bills. People in this situation often find themselves locked into a cycle of debt that can feel impossible to escape from. Those who try to cut heating costs are still faced with stiff bills because of standing charges. And while the mitigation work carried out by the Council's Anti-Poverty Service and the advice shops has helped mitigate the issue to an extent, the report highlighted just how difficult the job is. Through area-based schemes and the local heat and energy efficiency strategy, the Council has made progress in improving the energy efficiency of homes, particularly for low-income and fuel-poor households. The Anti-Poverty Service works in conjunction with energy advice programmes to ensure households receive energy-related benefits, as well as carrying out benefit health checks to ensure individuals are accessing their full entitlement to other benefits. A spokesperson for the Anti-Poverty Service added, "The anxiety of not knowing whether they can keep their home warm in the winter can feel overwhelming. There's also a stigma around debt and poverty that can prevent people from seeking help. Many people feel embarrassed about their financial situation and may avoid contact with energy suppliers or debt support services. This isolation worsens their situation and prolongs their struggle."
You're still game for a laugh, an unattributed article. Still Game fans and shoppers alike were treated to a very special guest appearance at the Centre Livingston at the weekend when Jack and Victor stopped by to sign copies of their new comic book, He Who Hingeth About Getteth Hee Haw. Actors Greg Hemphill and Ford Kiernan signed hundreds of books and welcomed lots of budding fans of the award-winning show to join them for photos, including young Adler and Alex, who travelled all the way from Beatock in Dumfriesshire to meet their favourite actors, and they also dressed up as the characters for the occasion. The event at the Born in Scotland store was their first stop on their book signing tour in the run-up to Christmas. Patrick Roberts, Centre Director, said, "We were delighted to welcome Greg and Ford to the Centre Livingston, especially being the only shopping centre in Scotland they're visiting, to meet fans and sign copies of their fantastic new book. Fans travelled from as far as Inverness and south of the border to get the opportunity to meet their idols. There was such a great buzz in the air and a lot of laughter too."
Youth Club at Heart of Town, an article by Stuart Somerville. A community venture in Livingston has unveiled a brand new look. The venue in Knightsbridge has received a makeover thanks to Morrison's Foundation. The club engages with children aged 5 to 12 and youths aged 13 to 21 years, especially those who are socially excluded. Staff recently announced that the venue would become the hub to deliver Junior Duke Awards to its youngest members. It will deliver the scheme, originally created by a Glasgow primary school teacher, which offers life skill awards that help children build confidence, resilience and independence. The charity has also appointed a new youth coordinator, Jen McCusker. The venue runs a community food outlet as well as a youth club, and they held an open day to mark its reopening after new kitchen facilities were built in the club rooms at Knightsbridge. The Morrison Foundation gave the venue a donation of more than £8,000. It is probably the biggest single investment in the building in the 15 years it has been running as a club. On the open day, the youngsters were making good use of the new facilities, with a team making baked potatoes and other hot food for visitors. The transformation of the building was branded amazing. It was a good day for good news, said trustee Julie Anderson, who runs the venue food outlet in the Mosswood Community Centre. The open day also highlighted other projects offered by the venue, including the food outlet and the community garden and the football team. The venue will be working with Ogilvie School campus in the community garden. Julie said, "We have started to work with the young people of Ogilvie campus in the community garden, teaching them some life skills. We are very proud of this work." It was also a chance for youngsters and trustees, including local councillor Andrew Miller, to welcome a new trustee on the board, former Livingston MP Hannah Bardell. Hannah said, "I want to give my time, experience and expertise that I've built up over the years to support these amazing folks. I'm looking forward to getting involved and in helping in any way that I can. I grew up in the area, which was very similar to this. I was lucky that I had a family who helped me and gave me the confidence to believe that you can do anything. You could become an MP." Current MP Gregor Paynton was among the visitors to the open day, along with local police and Scottish Fire Service and Rescue Service crews. And this wee small article is accompanied by a huge number of pictures. One large picture is with the staff in their light blue tops with the logo, the venue on the tops. There's a picture of the new youth coordinator, Jan McCusker. There is a picture showing the pantry that they've set up to help with food in the area. And overall, it shows a very active lot of activity going on.
Teenager using her passion for change to help young people. A West Lothian teenager is determined to make a difference to the lives of children and young people across the UK. Lena Zielinski, 16, from Broxburn, has joined the NSPCC's Young People's Board for Change, YPBC. She has spoken about her passion for helping other young people, her experiences of being a member of the YPBC, and why she would recommend the group and other similar opportunities to young people. The YPBC is a group of 15 young people aged 13 to 16 from across the UK. They shared their views and ideas to advise the NSPCC on what matters most to children and young people. They get involved in lots of fun projects and get the opportunity to travel across the country to take part in residentials, meetings and workshops. Lena said her experience has been amazing and that everyone has been really kind and accommodating. Her highlights include interviewing trustees at the Esther Awards, an annual celebration named after Childline founder Esther Ranson, where NSPCC staff and volunteers are awarded for innovation. She has also had the opportunity to get involved in decision-making, such as at the Esther Awards. This makes her feel like she is actively making a change. She said, "We got involved in the Esther Awards where I got to go through candidates and determine who had the biggest light bulb moment. I also saw Natalie Dormer at the awards, which was amazing. I couldn't keep my cool. Not only do we get to share our perspectives, but we are making a change." Lena is particularly passionate about addressing bullying in schools because she believes not enough is being done to stop it. On the issues she thinks schools need to address, she said, schools need to show they care instead of just ticking boxes. There is a lack of awareness of eating disorders and general gender inequality, and not enough is being done to prevent bullying. Children need to be heard to encourage change, as children can have so much influence when given the right platform and resources. Lena debates in her free time and represents Scotland on the national debating team. She was informed about the YPBC opportunity by her debate coach, who said it would be a good opportunity for her to discuss the issues she is passionate about tackling. Her family were ecstatic after she'd been accepted onto the board, and they encouraged her to go for it and voice her opinions. Lena has made new friends while being on the board and said, "I've made friends as we talk about our lives while we're working." The team would recommend the board to others, and they encourage other young people to get involved with the NSPCC to make a change. Lena said, to those young people interested in making change, speak out, be honest and open, as this is your chance to make a change. I've already recommended the board to fellow pupils at school, as there are so many opportunities. For future members of the board with weekly opportunities, choose the things you're most passionate about.
Pupils' pride in 10 green flags, an unattributed article. Pupils at a West Lothian school are celebrating after achieving a 10th award for being environmentally friendly. Linlithgow Bridge Primary School was awarded its 10th Green Flag Award, the top award in International Environmental Eco Schools programme by environmental charity Keep Scotland Beautiful. As part of the 30th anniversary celebrations of the International Eco Schools and Young Reporters for the Environment programmes, Keep Scotland Beautiful has hosted an online assembly, organised live lessons and set celebration challenges. Additionally, schools who are celebrating a milestone will be visited to mark their success. Linlithgow Bridge Primary School was visited by Keep Scotland Beautiful's Education and Learning Officer Nicola Davidson, who presented the school's Eco Committee with a certificate to mark their 10th flag. Barry Fisher, CEO of Keep Scotland Beautiful, commented, "It's great that we were able to visit Linlithgow Bridge to present a certificate of achievement and to hear from the children, young people and educators about their inspiring action and commitment to improving our environment. For the past 30 years, we have loved hearing about the remarkable achievements of our young people and the development of learning for sustainability across the world. And we look forward to continuing to provide support through our Climate Action Schools framework. Eco Schools is the largest sustainable schools programme in the world, operated internationally by the Foundation for Environmental Education and delivered by Keep Scotland Beautiful." And as you would expect, there is a lovely photograph of the children from Linlithgow Bridge Primary in their school uniforms, which includes cardigans and jumpers in a lovely purple colour, and they're proudly holding their certificate.
Brave War Munitions Women Remembered, an article by Debbie Hall. A community memorial to highlight the wartime services of Linlithgow's munitionettes, women who made explosives at Nobel's Regent Works munitions factory, has been unveiled. Over the course of World War I and World War II, 500 female munition workers made over 11 million incendiary bombs, a vital part of Britain's war effort. In recognition of their service and remembrance of their sacrifices, a wreath of handmade yellow poppies was laid at the former site of the munitions factory in Linlithgow during Remembrance Day weekend. On February the 5th, 1943, 4 Linlithgow munitionettes died in an explosion as they worked in the munitions factory. Jane Bailey, Barbara Bailey, Margaret Wilson and Susan Allen. This year, the 4 women's names were added formally to the Roll of Honour at the Scottish National War Memorial at Edinburgh Castle. In other parts of the UK, it's become customary to lay yellow wreaths in remembrance of munitionettes and their work, referencing the chemical poisoning from working with TNT that stained their skins canary yellow. Local researchers have been uncovering the stories of Linlithgow's munitionettes, leading to a popular series of talks and events and ongoing discussions about a permanent statue to be erected in the town in their honour. On Remembrance Sunday, local women had asked for permission to join the formal Remembrance Sunday parade in Linlithgow to lay a wreath at the War Memorial in St Michael's Church. That permission being denied, the group instead created their own memorial, a wreath of handmade yellow poppies. Local researcher and Linlithgow resident Catherine Welsh said, Linlithgow's munitionettes are an important part of our local history and play a vital role in the war effort. They deserve to be proudly remembered alongside many other Linlithgow folk who gave their lives in the wars. We hope our memorial, this Remembrance Day, will give local people an opportunity to pay their respects and to take one step closer towards a permanent marker for this proud part of our local history. The wreath was laid at the Regent Centre in Linlithgow, the site of the former munitions factory immediately outside the entrance to Tesco. The wreath was laid on Saturday, November the 9th, and remained in place throughout Remembrance Sunday and Armistice Day.
Teen robbed at knife point, an article by Debbie Hall. A teenage boy was left shaken after being threatened by a thug who said he had a knife and then robbed him. Police are appealing for information following a robbery involving a 13-year-old boy in Livingston on Saturday, November the 15th. Around 12:45pm, the teenager was walking along Lanark Avenue near the junction with Carmondine Centre Road when he was approached by a male wearing a balaclava who demanded money and his mobile phone. The suspect threatened the boy with what he claimed was a bladed weapon before pushing him to the ground and running off with his mobile phone. The suspect is described as white, 14 to 15 years of age, 5 foot 8 inches and of average build. He was wearing dark tracksuit trousers, a dark puffer-style jacket and a balaclava. Detective Inspector Keith Sinclair, Livingston CID, has appealed for information. He said, "This week, thankfully the teenager was uninjured, but what happened was very upsetting for him, especially when the suspect claimed to have a weapon. Officers are checking CCTV and carrying out inquiries in the area, but are keen to hear from anyone who may recognise the description of the youth responsible or who can help with their investigation. It's possible the suspect had been hanging about the street just before the robbery, so we would also like to view any doorbell or dashcam footage from the area, as it may have captured him, either the incident or an image of him. Information can be passed to officers via 101. Please quote incident number 1699 of Saturday 16th of November 2024 when calling. Alternatively, details can be given anonymously to Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111.
Care services improve, an article by Debbie Hall. Significant progress has been made by services in West Lothian in ensuring adults at risk of harm are safe, protected and supported. A progress review was carried out by the Care Inspectorate, Healthcare Improvement Scotland, and His Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary in Scotland, following a previous joint inspection of adult support and protection conducted in 2022. Inspectors found a substantial improvement to the quality and consistency of initial inquiry work, though inquiry delays was an area for attention. Significant progress had also been made to managing risk. The quality of risk assessments and protection plans was substantially improved since the last inspection, though the quality of chronologies remained an area for improvement. The consistency and quality of adult support and protection investigations had also significantly improved. This was driven by some good initiatives that provided clarity for staff and grew their confidence. However, the outcomes of interagency referral discussions needed to be better shared to further strengthen the partnership's approach. Jackie Irvin, Chief Executive of the Care Inspectorate, said, "The partnership made significant progress in relation to its key processes since the last inspection."
Police appeal for help to find East Calder break-in crooks. Detectives are appealing for information after a break-in and an attempted break-in at two properties in East Calder. Between 5 p.m. on Tuesday, November the 12th, and 7 a.m. on Wednesday, November the 13th, a house on Castle Crescent was broken into. Inquiries are ongoing to establish if anything has been stolen. Around 2:30 on Wednesday, November the 13th, there was an attempted break-in at a house on Blair Road. The suspects were disturbed and ran out round the rear garden into Sandylands Lane, then onto Sandylands Road. They were last seen entering a white Volkswagen Golf estate car that was parked in Blair Road. Detective Constable Graham Comrie said, "We believe the same people may be responsible for both of the crimes, and we are appealing to people in the local community for any information. Were you in the area of Castle Crescent on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, or in Blair Road around 2:30 on Wednesday morning? Did you see anything suspicious or out of the ordinary? Have you seen a white Volkswagen Golf estate car being driven around at these times? If you have, please contact us. Anyone with information should phone 101 quoting the reference number 0716 of 13 November. Alternatively, Crime Stoppers can be contacted on 0800 555 111, where anonymity can be maintained."
And now we have the intimations, which this week are deaths. Agnes Craig, née Little, Whitburn, peacefully at St John's Hospital on the 12th of November 2024, aged 86 years. Much loved and sadly missed by all family and friends. Isabel Findlay, unexpectedly but peacefully on Sunday the 17th of November 2024. Isabel, aged 84 years, loving wife to Len, beloved mum to Sheena and Ian, cherished gran to Kerr and Abby, mother-in-law to Alan and Lindsay. Isabel's funeral service will be held at Kirk of Calder, Mid-Calder, on Wednesday the 4th of December at 11 a.m. Thereafter to Amondale Cemetery, to which all family and friends are respectfully invited. And we'll now continue with the local news, and the next article is Battery Storage Site Boost, an article by Debbie Hall. West Lothian communities are set to benefit from new proposals for a massive battery storage site. A planning application has been submitted for Middle Rig battery storage plant between two local towns. If approved, it will see local communities in Armadale and Bathgate benefit, and it has been submitted to West Lothian Council by renewable energy developer Galileo. The Battery Energy Storage System, BESS, located between Bathgate and Armadale, will see a community benefit fund of £500,000 index-linked offered over the lifetime of the project to local communities of Bathgate and Armadale. The proposed battery storage facility, with a capacity of up to 49.9 megawatts, is located on land adjacent to the A801 northwest of Bathgate substation. BESS is an advanced technology which supports the transition away from polluting fossil fuels to clean, green, renewable electricity, the generation of which is intermittent in nature. This facility will store surplus electricity in rechargeable batteries when demand is low and release it back into the electricity grid when demand is high, helping balance the network and make the most of renewable energy in tackling climate change and the drive to net zero. Through delivering greater energy security and reducing reliance on volatile imported fossil fuels, this will further benefit consumers by facilitating the supply of homegrown and more affordable zero-carbon electricity. Galileo is committed to ensuring that local people benefit from the positive economic and social value that this project could bring. With it envisaged that the £500,000 Community Benefit Fund will focus on two key priorities: health and physical activity, and training education. The team behind the proposals, led by Galileo's Senior Project Manager Laura Petrie, are keen that individuals, local groups and organisations are in touch with the project team directly to provide feedback so a greater understanding of what this funding could be used for can be gained. Galileo is also committed to ensuring that wherever reasonably possible, local suppliers and contractors are used in all aspects of the construction and operation of the battery storage facility. The submission of the planning application follows the recent opening of a supplier portal by Galileo, giving businesses the opportunity to formally register their interest in delivering the project. Speaking after the submission of the planning application, Laura said, "We're delighted to be submitting this planning application for our battery storage facility at Middlerig, which follows extensive engagement with local communities. Infrastructure such as this has a vital part to play as we move away from polluting fossil fuels to clean, green, renewable energy, playing a critical role in tackling climate change and supporting Scotland to achieve its net zero target. As with all our projects, we've made sure to work closely with local communities throughout the planning process and are confident that this project will bring considerable economic and environmental benefits to West Lothian. Our Community Benefit Fund, for example, amounts to £500,000, and we're keen to get a greater understanding of what this could be used for. The development will also deliver considerable investment, creating jobs and boosting the skills of our current and future workforce. We look forward to continuing to engage with the Council and local communities throughout the planning process." Paul Hunter, Chief Executive of West Lothian Chamber of Commerce, commented, "Renewable energy developments such as this have the potential to deliver considerable investment, creating local jobs, boosting the skills of our current and future workforce, and deliver sustainable economic growth. We are pleased to note Galileo's commitment to prioritising the use of local suppliers and contractors in all aspects of the battery storage development. If the development is approved, we look forward to continuing to work with the company to maximise the opportunities available in the local supply chain."
Probe as hundreds of fish die, an unattributed article. A probe is underway after a devastating and freaky fish wipeout in an iconic loch next to Linlithgow Palace. Hundreds of fish suddenly washed up dead in Linlithgow Loch last week in what's believed to be a toxic pollution incident. Shocking images taken on Monday and Tuesday, November 11th and 12th, show a large number of dead fish, chiefly thought to be roach, floating near the surface of the water. They were first spotted close to 3 outflow pipes coming from a nearby housing estate, locals told the Daily Record. Scottish Water has already been out investigating the incident, and eco-watchdogs SEPA are also aware. The picturesque loch, dominated by landmark Linlithgow Palace, birthplace of Mary Queen of Scots, is renowned for trout fishing and is a haven for wildlife. Tom Lambert of the local Linlithgow Loch Fishery Group told the Record, "Someone walking around the loch on Monday afternoon had noticed that where the pipes came out, there were a lot of dead fish and the water was quite frothy. I would say a good 100 or so young roach have been killed. It must be something very toxic to kill them all." Another local angler, who didn't wish to be named, said he believed thousands of fish could have been wiped out in the incident. He told the Record, "It's unbelievable. Thousands of dead fish is just freaky. It's a devastating loss of life." This loch is a royal borough. It should be treated with more respect than it's getting. It's one of the most scenic places in Scotland. The roaches are a rich food supply for birds. We've got cormorants here, for example. I can't overemphasise that this is a disaster. What else is happening to the insect life if the fish are dying off? Is it causing any harm to the plant life? It's scary. Hailed as a jewel in West Lothian's crown, Linlithgow Loch is a site of special scientific interest, which gives it legal eco-protections. but it's been plagued by long-standing issues with pollution, including from agricultural runoff and road drainage from the nearby M9. Levels of nutrients like phosphorus, chloride and nitrogen have often been too high in the freshwater loch, leading to a recurring problem with blue algae. But Lambert said last week's incident has been different and shocking. He said, to see that number of fish dead, even the chap from Scottish Water said he'd never seen anything like it. Scottish Green Lothian MSP Lorna Slater, who's part of a campaign to clean up the loch, said, this situation is deeply concerning. This fish die-off event will be very distressing for local people, but won't come as a surprise. High levels of pollution in Linlithgow Loch have been a subject of worry for years, and progress to identify the sources of the pollution and put in place measures to clean up the loch have been frustratingly slow. She added, it seems the sad loss of nature because of this contamination event will be one of the worst for some years. Locals have raised concern about pollution making their pets ill, creating a foul smell, and similar to this case, killing local wildlife. A spokeswoman for SEPA said, we received reports of a number of dead fish found in Linlithgow Loch on 11th of November, and officers attended the site the following day. We continue to work with partners as we investigate potential causes for the incident. Scottish Water spokesman said, we have found no issue with any of our infrastructure in the area, but will assist SEPA in any investigation that is carried out.
An unattributed article and headed up, Beaver work gets zoo on the shortlist. And the subheading is Five Sisters up for top award. The Five Sisters Zoo, FSZ, has been shortlisted for a prestigious prize thanks to its incredible work in helping beavers to flourish in the UK again. The zoo is in the running for an award in the Great British Wildlife Restoration Competition, a scheme that recognises the incredible work being done to restore native species in the country. But to secure this award, FSZ needs the support of members of Parliament and of the House of Lords, whose votes will determine the winner. Staff are calling on supporters to contact their local MPs and encourage them to vote in favour of FSZ's conservation efforts, ensuring that this impactful work receives the recognition that it deserves. FSZ is proud to be recognised for its Eurasian Beaver Translocation project conducted in partnership with the Beaver Trust. Since 2019, this project has facilitated the licensed translocation of Eurasian beavers from around areas of human-wildlife conflict in Scotland under the direction of Nature Scot to designated release sites across England and Wales and new wildlife locations in Scotland. These sites include notable projects such as the Ealing Beaver Project in London, over 20 wild releases initiated at Argati Red Kites Loch Lomond National Nature Reserve and Cairngorms National Park as part of Cairngorms Beaver Project in Scotland. Many of these beavers would otherwise face lethal control. FSZ built 2 custom quarantine facilities under the direction of the Beaver Trust, which also funded the construction where each beaver undergoes health screening to confirm fitness for reintroduction into the wild. This year, FSZ celebrated the milestone of translocating its 200th beaver, significantly contributing to genetic diversity and ecosystem health throughout Britain. The Great British Wildlife Restoration has been organised by the British and Irish Association of Zoos and Aquariums to shine a spotlight on some of the amazing work taking place to tackle the drastic decline in our native species, and will urge politicians to act now for our nature. The Five Sisters Zoo joins 22 other shortlisted projects. Collectively, these projects have helped thousands of animals, habitats and ecosystems, as well as inspiring thousands of people with their stories. Species being helped include beavers, harvest mice and rare moths. Andy Hall, BIAZA's Communication and Public Affairs Manager and the founder of the Great Britain Wildlife Restoration, said, "The shortlist shows the depth and breadth of work going on in our great British zoos and aquariums to save the nature on our own doorstep. We need to recognise and reward this incredible work, and I hope politicians of all stripes will get behind these awards." Veselina Alvas, head keeper at the Five Sisters Zoo, added, "We are incredibly proud to see our work with the beaver trusts recognised in this way. Each beaver translocated is a step forward for both the species conservation and ecosystem health. By offering an alternative to lethal control, we are giving beavers the chance to thrive and make a real difference to Britain's landscapes." As a shortlisted project, Five Sisters Zoo will be invited to a special awards evening at the house of the Speaker of the House of Commons in January. The winner will have received the most votes from supportive members of Parliament or members of the House of Lords. To read more about this incredible conservation work that's being conducted by Five Sisters Zoo, please visit https://5sisterzoo.co.uk/conservation/partners/.
Win a £25 gift card to spend at the centre. It's easy to enter our great contest. An article by Debbie Hall. At the centre, Livingston, there's a fantastic variety of over 150 stores to choose from, including M&S and Pandora, and so many great places to relax and enjoy a bite to eat. If you're looking for cute baby outfits, check out the Spanish-inspired Wee Me boutique across from River Island. There's lots to choose from, including gingham puffball dresses and check dungarees with shirts, and tartan too. When it comes to wrapping your precious swans up this winter, there's a stunning collection of puffer and wool jackets and coats, and faux fur pom-pom hats in a range of gorgeous colours, from pastel pinks and blues to white and ivory. Wee Me Boutique also has a range of beautiful keepsake gifts and ornaments, including baby photo frames, perfect for Christmas gifts. The Centre Livingston is giving one lucky reader the chance to win a £25 gift card, which can be redeemed in over 80 stores and all restaurants to treat yourself this Christmas. To enter, send your answer to the competition question below to debbie.hall@reachplc.com. And the question is, where is Wee Me Boutique located at the Centre Livingston?
Scotland's first black MP honoured. An article by Debbie Hall. A special plaque has been put up in memory of Scotland's first black Member of Parliament, Peter McLagan. McLagan was first elected to represent Linlithgowshire in 1865 and served until 1893, making him West Lothian's second longest serving MP after Tam Dalyell. The plaque will be permanently mounted in council chambers at West Lothian Civic Centre and was recently unveiled along with special interpretation panels telling McLagan's fascinating life story during Black History Month in October. Provost Cathy Muldoon said, "It's fantastic to see this permanent tribute to Peter McLagan put in place in West Lothian. We hope this will encourage more people to learn about McLagan's interesting life and achievements and inspire more West Lothian residents from minority backgrounds to consider standing for election to represent their area. Silence Chahuri, co-chair of the West Lothian Legacy of Chattel Slavery Working Group, added, "Celebrating Peter McLagan in this way gives significance to the contribution of black people to the development of West Lothian."
Towns are made priority for new housing. Linlithgow is a priority for new council housing projects for the next 5 years. But funding restrictions will mean the ever-growing demand will never be fully met either in the town or elsewhere in the county, even with the partnership of registered social landlords, RSL, and with housing associations. Along with Livingston, the county town remains a high demand area for new social housing as the council prepares its latest strategic housing investment plan, SHIP, SHIP. Housing Officer Gillian Edwards told councillors recently, "Currently our priorities are to look at our council projects in high demand areas such as Livingston and Linlithgow. And we are hoping to progress more development in the core development areas where we have had a lot of success delivering affordable housing, already mostly in Winchborough and Calderwood and East Calder. We want to develop these projects already committed." West Lothian Council has prioritised 4 developments to be developed for council housing in priority areas Livingston and Linlithgow, which will increase the council housing stock by at least 120 units. The bulk of these new homes will be in Livingston. Planned to start next year in Linlithgow is work on 15 new council homes in Deanburn in Linlithgow. Current sites under construction in the north-east of the county include 100 homes for Wheatley Homes East and Home Group, 2 of the partner RSL in Winchborough. Sites for more than 2,173 homes have been identified, but funding commitments are for only 161 to be built. Other provision will come from open market acquisition, the buyback for former council homes.
Fire crews race to blaze at St John's, an article by Debbie Hall. Fire crews scrambled to a blaze last week at St John's Hospital. Crews were called to the hospital last Thursday evening following reports of a fire at the Livingston Hospital. The Scottish Fire and Rescue Service mobilised 3 appliances and a height appliance to tackle the blaze in Livingston. The incident occurred at around 5:43 p.m. on November the 14th, and up to 20 firefighters were at the scene. Locals reported seeing fire appliances race through Livingston to the hospital, and the SFRS confirmed to the courier a fire had broken out. There were no reports of casualties. A spokesperson for the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service said, "We received a call at 5:34 p.m. on Wednesday regarding a fire at St John's Hospital in Livingston. We can confirm there was a fire and our teams left the scene once it was extinguished. There were no casualties."
Roof works delayed, an unattributed article. Plans to replace roof tiles built of crumbling concrete in council homes are unlikely to get underway until the new year. An initial marketing programme failed to attract bids from contractors for the almost £2 million job to replace racked roofing panels. The work has been repackaged and has gone to open tender with a planned start date of January. Around 90 council homes have been identified as having rack roofing panels in Bathgate, Linlithgow and Broxburn. Homes in Livingston's Craig Hill, now managed by Amond Housing, also have rack panels. Marjorie Mackey, the council's housing strategy and development manager, said there had been slippage of £1.78 million in a report to councillors. Her report added this was as a result of the requirement to re-tender the planned works due to insufficient market interest. The report said, this programme of work has been reviewed and is currently in the process of going back out to tender with an anticipated start on site in January 2025. Monitoring work will continue to ensure the ongoing safety of tenants. Linlithgow SNP councillor Pauline Orr asked, do we know why that is? Is it due to the complexity of the work? Is it due to the size of the projects? Or is it due to a lack of skill out there to be able to undertake the works required on these premises? Ms Mackey said, we undertook some analysis and it was a combination of items. We've looked at packaging up the work in order that it makes it more manageable. We are also going out to open tender this time, and we have actually undertaken a supply forum to ensure that suppliers come in advance of tender and were given full information around the tender. We are anticipating that this will have a successful tender at the end of this period. SNP group leader Pauline Stafford asked if there were any financial implications in the re-tendering. Ms Mackey said that while the market will dictate, she did not expect any financial problems. She added, the work itself is not complex, it is removing rack panels and replacing roofing. The fact is, it's going to the open market and that will deliver best value. There's no indication it will be negative. A West Lothian Council spokesperson said, we are aiming to have our reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete or RAC, remediation programme for affected council homes ready to start from January 2025. Work has been delayed after our initial tender exercise in the summer did not attract any bids from contractors. Housing officers have assured regular communication has been maintained with tenants.
The next article is headed up, West Lothian Council backs clampdown on fireworks. West Lothian Council has backed calls to demand a clampdown on fireworks and tighter control on their sale. The Council also backed more work with police and fire services to control the abuse of fireworks. A Conservative motion slated the weakness of New Holyrood legislation in the light of the disruption in West Lothian and beyond earlier this year. Councillor Alison Adamson referred to the death of 2 animals in Edinburgh Zoo around bonfire night, which were down to the shock from the noise of explosives. She cited them as failure of the new firework control zones. Councillor Adamson said, there are people and animals being traumatised by continuous noise, and communities are living in fear of the consequences of the action of an overt and unruly element. The overhyped firework control zones still allow for licensed organised displays, but put under undue pressure on police. It is apparent we need to take a firm approach to control this escalating public nuisance for the safety and well-being of families, animals and emergency workers. This is now a matter of priority. Councillor Adamson said local trading standard officers can inspect registered retailers to ensure all safety regulations are being met. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said of online suppliers using couriers to deliver potentially unregulated imported fireworks and pyrotechnics.
Council vows to tackle eyesore derelict sites in West Lothian, an article by Stuart Somerville. Armadale has more derelict sites than any other town or village in West Lothian, a survey has found. Tackling these eyesore sites, even with simple measures, is one of the first steps to improving the look of the town. That was the message from the community at an open day organised by West Lothian Council this week. Most sites remain in private ownership, and while the largest has already been earmarked for redevelopment, it is the lack of public knowledge about the others, including one on West Main Street, that irritates locals the most. That was one of the key findings from the well-attended Open Day, set up by the Council's regeneration team as part of their looking for ideas and feedback to help improve the town. The event was one of the first set up as the Council starts work on its locality plan, which aims to work with community groups on practical ways to tackle poverty and encourage community wealth building. Michelle Murray, the town's regeneration officer, told a meeting of the local area committee, "We have a high proportion of the population living near derelict sites. A key thing is informing the community. They look at these sites and ask why is nothing happening with them." Councillor Linda Kenna said, "The stats are very high. Is there anything being done to address these derelict sites? I know we were looking to see if some of these sites could be taken up for housing." Mrs Murray explained that the figures are skewed by the size of the former brickwork site in the south side of the town. The percentage of the population of Armadale living within 500 metres of a derelict site is 77.1%. This rises for those in Armadale South to 88.4%. The West Lothian average is 16.2%. There are plans coming to build housing on the brickwork site, Mrs Murray added. This one site is extremely large, so if that site is developed, the stats would drop significantly. Mrs Murray said that regeneration officers working on the development of the locality plan to help improve the town were engaging with site owners to see what potential for development there is. In the meantime, the survey gives the community a chance to look at ways of improving the townscape. She added, "The community doesn't like these sites being left the way they are. While we may not get rid of sites, we can improve the sites that are there." One option being explored is community hoardings. A project to erect decorative hoardings around some of these sites involving local youth groups and schools has been identified, and cash was allocated throughout the COVID recovery monies to support this. The Community Regeneration Officer is currently exploring the feasibility of this by organising a meeting with the Town Centre Manager, Police Scotland, relevant departments of the Council and the local Community Council. However, because the location identified are privately owned, there needs to be clarification before being able to move forward. Sites being considered include a former garage in the centre of Blackridge. The partnership community engagement took place on Monday in the Dale Hub. This session was led by the Community Regeneration Officer with support from Play Works Armadale, Public Health Scotland and Architecture and Design Scotland. The day gave the community the chance to air concerns and ideas with services and allowed the services to directly provide information to the community. It also gave the groups taking part positive feedback on what the community would like to see improve in the town.
Labour holds council seat in close-run by-election, an article by Stuart Somerville. Labour has retained the seat in the Whitburn ward vacated by newly elected MP Kirstine Sullivan, with the election of David Russell. Mr Russell will join fellow Labour councillor George Paul following Thursday's by-election in Whitburn and Blackburn, following a narrow victory over SNP rival Aileen Brown. It will give Labour 12 sitting councillors compared to the SNP's 15, the Conservatives 4, 1 Lib Dem and 1 Independent. Labour Group Leader on West Lothian Council and the Council Leader Lawrence Fitzpatrick told the West Lothian Courier, "I'm delighted with David's election. He will be a first-class councillor for the ward. He has the essential attributes of energy, integrity and commitment, and I'm certain that he will prove an outstanding community representative." The poll was a disappointment for former Bathgate councillor Charles Kennedy, who had hoped to return to the Chambers representing the Conservatives. The party, however, fell well behind Reform candidate David McLennan and local Community Council Chairman Tam Lynch, who polled 421 votes by standing as an independent. The full results were Aileen Brown for the SNP, 1,022, Douglas Butler for the Scottish Liberal Democrats, 97. Cameron Glasgow for the Scottish Greens, 92. Charles Kennedy for the Scottish Conservative and Unionist Party, 239. Thomas Lynch as an independent, 421. David McLennan for Reform UK, 578. And David Russell for the Scottish Labour Party, 1,093. And David Russell was elected as councillor for the ward at stage 7.
An article by Andy McGilvery. Tucandu coach master Robin Blair admits that it was a bittersweet moment when he passed his 8th degree exam in the martial art. To pass the grading at the 181st International Tucandu Conference International Instructor Course in Cagliari, Sardinia, aged 59, was an achievement Master Blair was delighted to be able to undertake. But it was also the final physical grading he will undertake, with the title of Grand Master awarded to him when he eventually receives his 9th grading. Master Blair was also sitting his grading alongside colleague David Lupton. For the Pro Edge martial art head coach, it was the culmination of 44 years in the sport and a moment to be proud of in front of the Grand Master Hector Marano, Grand Master Ong Kin Lan and Grand Master William Jacobs Boss. Master Blair the 8th from Armadale said, "To go to Sardinia, to sit it, to go to Italy, to sit it with 3 Grand Masters and highest ranking guys in the land was incredible. Myself and colleagues, one of the guys who is my associate, David Lupton, he went for his 7th degree, so that made him master, and this will be a privilege that he will undertake well. It was a bittersweet thing. I was glad it was done because I've been getting bothered with my knees and things like that over the years, but I managed to keep it together to do that because it's a full test. You're not actually looked upon any different from a younger person doing it, so you get put through the mill with breaking boards, fighting and all sorts, so that it was difficult to get a bit of relief to get it done. But by the same token, I was thinking, I'll never need to do this again, because that's the last physical grading that you'll do in Tucandu. The 9th degree becomes awarded to you, and that means you become a Grand Master, but that's just an award, so it's quite a weird feeling. It was an amazing experience. Master Blair, who has Pro Edge martial arts schools in Armadale and Livingston, said, "It has been a few decades to get to this. That was 44 years. That's how long it took. As you get older, it gets a bit more difficult, and that's why you just never know if you're going to make these things. I started training when I was 16, and to sit a grading like this when you're 59 years old, I suppose I'm quite lucky that I've always kept fit and healthy. I think that was one of the reasons I was able to go and do that. For a lot of people, the sport just kind of wrecks them over the years with knees, hips and everything. I've been fortunate that I haven't been plagued by anything like that. It has also blessed me with travelling of the whole of Europe in the last 20 years. I don't think there's a country in Europe that I haven't been to, so I've been pretty fortunate that way. Having coached Scotland's Tucandu team for a decade and competed until he was 34, Master Blair is happy to give something back through coaching Tucandu and kickboxing. I coach the national team and have done so for 10 years, and I was a competitor right up until I was 34 years old, and I thought it was time to stop doing it. I have 2 pro-edge martial arts schools going. One is a full-time gym in Armadale, and the other one is a Scout Hall, but a good club in Livingston. It's kind of non-stop, it's relentless, and it's kept me busy and out of mischief. But because I've sat the 8th degree doesn't mean that's the end of it. I'll continue to keep coaching and keep trying to offer my services to the community and help young people. I'll keep trying to encourage people to join Take and Do because of the benefits that outweigh everything with health and whatever. I'll keep trying to do that for as long as I can. And Master Blair is pictured with his friend in the picture just above the article.
And that brings us to the end of a recording of the latest edition of the West Lothian Courier. Please do return your memory sticks by popping them into the envelope, and also please do remember to change the address label on the return envelope too. So until Team 1 reads again in 6 weeks' time, it's goodbye from our engineer Diane, and from the readers who are myself, Wendy.
And good night from Linda.
And good night from George.